When you think about the big players in business software, names like Microsoft and Salesforce probably come to mind, right? They're American giants and they seem to own the whole field. But what if I told you there's a quiet challenger, one that was built in a small town in India, and it's starting to make some very, very loud noises? Okay, let's get into this because it's a fantastic story of a global underdog taking on the biggest names in the game.
First, let's talk about a problem that, almost every modern business deals with. You've got your sales team in Salesforce, everyone's collaborating in Microsoft 365, you're chatting on Slack, and then you're sending out newsletters with Mailchimp. That's 4, 5, maybe even more different subscriptions, all with different bills. It's this messy, expensive tangle that people are calling SaaS Sprawl.
And how costly is it really? Well, let's just imagine a small team, say 10 people. If you bundle all those big-name services together, you could be looking at over $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year. Now look at this alternative, an all-in-one suite called Zoho One. The cost? Just $5,400 a year. That's a saving of nearly $20,000. For a small business, that's not just a nice little discount. That could be a whole other employee's salary. So who is this company that's offering a deal that seems almost too good to be true? Well, it's not a name you hear thrown around on Wall Street every day. The company is Zoho, and their story is about as far from the typical Silicon Valley startup tale as you can get. So what is Zoho exactly? The best way to think about it is like a complete operating system for your business. It isn't just one app trying to do one thing. Nope. It's a massive, interconnected suite of over 50 different applications that are designed to handle pretty much everything, from your sales CRM to your accounting to your team chat, the whole shebang. And you might be thinking they're just some new small player, but their scale is, well, it's staggering. Zoho has blown past 100 million users around the globe. To put that into perspective for you, that's more than the entire population of California, Texas, and Florida combined. This is not a niche product. This is a global force to be reckoned with. And the way they got here just completely breaks the tech startup mold. They were founded back in 1996 in Chennai, India. And get this, they took zero venture capital money. Zero. They bootstrapped the entire operation, which means they had to be profitable and grow sustainably, not just follow that growth at all costs mantra. They even have this philosophy they call transnational localism, where they set up offices in smaller rural towns instead of just big, flashy tech hubs. It's just a completely different DNA. Okay, so you have this incredible value proposition and a totally unique company culture. But how does a company like this actually take on the Goliaths of the tech world? Let's break down the battlefield and look at the strategy here. So let's start with the most important market here, customer relationship management, or CRM. In this world, Salesforce is the 800-pound gorilla. They command something like 23% of the entire global market. They are the titan. They're the one everyone is trying to beat. So how does David fight Goliath in this scenario? Well, there's a great analogy for Zoho's strategy. It's a lot like how Japanese automakers first came into the US market. They didn't try to compete with a luxury brand like Cadillac on day one. No way. They started by making reliable, super affordable cars that the big players were kind of ignoring. They won the low end of the market first, and then, step by step, they moved their way up. So here's how the battle plans stack up. On one side, you've got the giants. They have these huge defensive moats, right? Deep AI integration, massive app ecosystems that lock you in, and just brute force marketing dollars. And then on the other side, you have Zoho's playbook. Unbeatable all-in-one value, a focus on winning that small business market, and a plan to absolutely dominate the incredible growth happening in India. And that last point, that is Zoho's secret weapon. India is on track to become the world's third largest economy, and its software market is exploding. So if Zoho can become the undisputed champ on their home turf, they can use all those profits as a massive war chest to fund super aggressive pricing and expand right here in the US and everywhere else. So, if you're Microsoft or Salesforce, what do you do? How do you fight that? You can't win a race to the bottom on price, that's for sure. So you have to change the rules of the race. Let's look at how the giants are striking back and what this new global reality really means for all of us. The giants really have three main weapons in their arsenal. First, they're weaponizing generative AI. Think about Microsoft's Copilot. It can pull data from across its entire universe of apps to draft a sales proposal from a single sentence. Second, they have these vast ecosystems, like the Salesforce App Exchange with over 7,000 apps. Once you're in, it's really hard to leave. And third, they have brute force. They can simply outspend anyone on marketing and sales, just drowning out the competition.
So, what's the bottom line here? It's this. Zoho is an incredibly impressive company. It is a legitimate threat, especially to all those small and medium-sized businesses that are really the backbone of the economy. But the giants are still protected by those really powerful moats we just talked about. I think what this whole battle really proves, more than anything, is that world-class tech innovation is no longer a monopoly held by a few zip codes in Northern California. The game has gone global.
And that brings us to a much, much bigger question about the future. As technology gets tied up in national pride and economic strategy, are we headed for a sort of splinter net of software? You'd have an American suite, an Indian suite, a Chinese suite. Or can the best, most valuable product still win on a truly global stage, no matter where in the world its founders wrote that first line of code? It's definitely something to think about.